Welcome everybody. So today I'm here with Josh, and today we're going to be going through a pec anterior shoulder mobility class. So shoulder, chest and front of the shoulder stuff. We are going to begin with scapular cars. So I'm going to have you standing with your arms by your side. Okay. I want you to think that your hands are glued to your side, so they can move up and down, but you can't allow the hands to actually come off your legs forwards or backwards. Yeah. So follow my cue, just take a breath in, build a little bit of tension, think 30% tension, lift the shoulder blades up towards your ears, slide them back, and then slide them down. Forwards, up, back, down. And I want you to keep going in that direction. Think, move slow, 1 mile per hour. Try your best to get that movement coming just from shoulder blades. So try not to let the head move forwards or backwards and keep the head still. Try not to let the elbows bend. And as you're going through this, guys, just try to feel out the movement. If you notice there's any particular areas of the movement where you move fast, slow, just try to slow it down more and work through those sticky areas. And change direction for me. Good. Try to keep a bit more tension in the arms. Try not to let those elbows bend. And remember, arms are glued, hands are glued by your side. Good. As you're going through this, guys, I just want you to see how it feels. Good. And finish up on that rep. Right, now for glenohumeral cars, what I'm going to get you to do is place one hand just over your rib, and that's going to give you feedback. What you want is that you keep the torso as still as possible. All right, so we're going to try not to rotate with the torso, extend or flex the spine, and keep the head still. You're going to have the hand by your side, palm facing forwards, and then from here, externally rotating the shoulder as best as you can. You adduct across, bring that arm over into an overhead position, and then pause here for a second in the overhead position. And then I want you to internally rotate the shoulder as best as you can. Send the arm back, continuing to internally rotate. Continue to internally rotate. So you should finish with the palm facing outwards somewhat. And then you rewind. So it's shoulder extension, keeping internal rotation. Try to lift that arm up into extended position. When you hit that blocking point, slowly rotate to bring the arm back out and around. Again, I just want you to work for time on this. Use the other hand over the rib cage to give you some feedback. Do your best to keep all of this still. Try to squeeze out more internal rotation as you go through that part of the movement. As you reverse, try to get more extension without moving with the torso. Good. Each rep, try to expand that range of motion without anything else getting involved. So you want all of that to come from the shoulder joint as best as possible. Good, keep it going. And at home, guys, I want you to see how it feels as you go through the movement, especially the second part. So as you're sending the arm back, continuing to draw that circle, and as you extend the arm back as well, how does that portion feel? This is what we're going to be focusing on, and this is aspects that will help for, say, your pressing movements, whether it's dips, overhead presses, or bench pressing as another example. Finish up on that rep, and then we'll do the other side. Good. All right, so right arm over rib cage, externally rotate the shoulder, internally rotate, send that arm back, continuing to internally rotate, and then reverse. Good. From there, remember, abduct across to the side. Try to keep all of that still. Try not to overlift the shoulder blade. Good. Even pay attention to what is happening with the elbow. You'll probably find the elbow may want to bend. Try to minimize that, all right? You'll also probably notice the shoulder blade slides up and down through the movement a little bit, guys. That's perfectly normal, but what I'm asking is that we try to minimize that from happening so we can get the best out of the GH joint with this particular exercise. Again, tune in, see how it feels. How does it feel compared to the other side? And finish up on that rep. Good. All right. Next up, I am going to set you up for a pec stretch, anterior shoulder stretch using the box. So you're going to place your arm onto the box like this, okay? And then you're going to be on your hands and knees. We're looking for a stretch around the front of the shoulder, pec area, or chest area. So from here, in order to load into the stretch, you're then going to lower your body in that elevator fashion. And as you lower down, you're scanning to see a line of tension across here. Now from here, you can play a little bit with body position, so you can then choose to lean forwards a little bit more, or even lean back a little bit more. Okay, what I want is that you get into that position and then just find a good stretch for yourself. And then from there, we're going to hold a passive stretch for about a minute. Okay, there'll be a PAILS contraction, which is going to be almost like that pec fly movement. So you're going to drive this arm into the box, thinking about contracting what you feel is on stretch. We'll build that effort up, and then afterwards we'll do a rails contraction, which is going to be the reverse. So you're going to try and lift this arm off the box. All right. In theory, if you're in that end range, okay, when you do the rails contraction, you try to lift off. The arm most likely shouldn't come off the box, okay, but you just want to imagine there's a scale under your hand and elbow, or under the whole arm, and you want it to read 0. So you're just trying to get as light as possible without changing anything else in the body. Then we'll go into a second round afterwards. All right, so if you set yourself up. Good, so once you're there, scan a little bit. You can choose to lean forwards a little bit more. You can choose to lean back a little bit more. And guys, what you're looking for is that stretch, front of the shoulder, chest area. Found a good stretch?
Yes.
Excellent. So now you're just holding the stretch. What I want is that stretch, that passive hold, is tolerable. So if you feel that it's quite a painful stretch and it's forcing you to tense up quite a lot, then just back out of it a little bit to something that feels a little bit more tolerable. And at the same time, right now, just work on relaxing into the stretch. So use the breath. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Here we go. Chris has come along for the... There you go. All right. So we'll begin the first round. I want you to follow my cue. Take a good deep breath in. Take a good brace, so build a bit of tension in the upper body, lower body, abdomen. And now with 10%, just begin to contract what you feel is being stretched with that emphasis of driving the whole arm into the box. Think that pec fly movement. Now build that up to 20%, 40%, 60. Think about hitting every number in between 40 and 60, so 41, 42, 43, slowly ramping it up. Now go to 80. Good. And now I want you to give it your safest and greatest effort. And try to maintain that effort for another 15 more seconds. Josh is doing a really good job at keeping the rest of the body tense as well. Stay with it. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now you're going to slowly relax that contraction. Do not change anything else with the body setup, but now go into the rails. So you're trying to lift this arm off the box without changing anything. As I said before, if you're at your true end range, most likely that arm won't come off the box, but you just want to try and get as light as possible. You want to feel back here getting engaged, shoulder retraction. Give it your best for this. Stay with it. 10 more seconds. And then I'm going to ask you to slowly relax that contraction and then sink a little bit deeper into the passive stretch. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax the contraction, sink a little bit deeper into the passive stretch. Now, while you're holding the passive stretch, I want you to just scan again. You have the freedom to move a bit forwards or backwards and find a different line of tension. You might find that you don't and the position you had was a good line of tension, in which case just stay there for the second round. One more thing I'll say before we do the second round is that as you go more and more into your passive range, i.e. the more consecutive rounds you do, you'll find yourself being a little bit weaker, so don't expect the same amount of effort to be achieved in the second round. Ready for round 2, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Oh. If you had to come out of position like Josh did, that's fine. Then I'll ask you to just get back into position. All right. So we're going to go for round 2. Find that stretch again. Good. Breath in. Good brace. And PAILS contraction, 20%, driving all of this into the box. Thinking about using what you feel is on stretch. So that'll be that pec, front of the chest, trying to create this pec fly movement. Take it up to 40%. 60. 80. And safest, greatest effort. Meanwhile, you're still thinking about keeping the rest of the body tense. Good. Stay with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax that contraction and go into the rails contraction. So you're trying to lift that arm off the box, retracting shoulder blades, squeezing back here as best as you can for another 15 more seconds. And then afterwards, I'm going to ask you to slowly relax that contraction, sink a little bit deeper into the passive stretch, take a couple of deep diaphragmatic breaths in and out, and then slowly come out of the stretch. So now relaxing the contraction, sink a little bit deeper for me. Good. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Try to relax as best as you can while you're just holding this position for a bit. And then when you're ready, slowly come out of position. Good, and when you're ready, come out, Josh. What a pain, right?
Yeah, not as easy as it looks.
No. Okay, so I'll explain to you the second exercise while you're having a little rest, okay?
Yeah.
This is a kinetic movement, so you're going to set yourself up in the same position, all right? From here, you're going to lower yourself down and then bring yourself back up, all right? But you're going to make this active in both ways. So you're going to think rails contraction, you're going to try and retract the shoulder blade, and that's going to be what lowers you down into the stretch, okay? And then it's PAILS, so you're going to drive into the box now to lift yourself back up. So if you imagine your arm is glued onto this box now, when you try to do the rails contraction, the arm won't actually come off the box, but that's what's going to pull you down into that end range. What I ask is that you work into the stretch a little bit to what you can tolerate, and then from there, reverse, drive in, drive with the PAILS contraction to bring yourself back up to the start, right? We're gonna do 60 seconds. This is one of those where you can choose your own intensity. So you could think working out 30%, 50% on how much effort you create that contraction to lower yourself and bring yourself back up. For 60 seconds, what I ask is that you work at an intensity which by the end of 60 seconds, you don't have much left. Yeah? Good, all right, set yourself up. One more thing I will say, guys, and this is for you as well at home, is as you go through rep by rep, feel free to change the angle a little bit rather than staying the same direction as you lower and come up. So you can go into one rep going down in one line, and as you come up, change position a little bit. Yeah? Does that make sense, Josh?
Yeah.
Good. All right, time starts now. So keeping tension in the rest of the body. rails contraction to pull you down, PAILS to bring yourself back up. At home, you don't need to be moving at the same pace as Josh. What I ask is that you just keep it as active as possible, moving both ways in and out of the stretch. Good. 30 more seconds. I think Bruce has been drinking someone's coffee or something. He's gone hyperactive all of a sudden, haven't you, little fella? Good, and I'll remind you at home, work into your tolerance. This is one of those exercises which you could probably work into the stretch a fair bit if you've done it for a while and you're used to this, but always stay within what feels safe to you. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Right, now the next exercise is going to be an eccentric loading. So you're going to start in the top position again. And from here, you're going to create now the PAILS contraction. So you're going to drive the arm into the box and then lower yourself. So as you're lowering, that is what is starting to stretch out all of this. This is one again, choose your own intensity, choose your own effort. However, what you may find is you'll start here, you'll build a PAILS contraction, and as you eccentrically load it, as you're lowering down, you already start to probably feel a stretch on that chest, front of the shoulder area. So again, you can work into what you can tolerate. So for me, for example, I feel a stretch about here, but I can continue to work through it a fair bit without a problem. So up to you as well. I want you just to work within what you feel you can handle and tolerate. 60 seconds, make it so that by the end of 60 seconds you have nothing left in the tank. Makes sense? All right, breath in.
Should you be shaking with this?
Not at the very beginning, no. All right, breath in, good brace, and begin. That's it. So now it's that pec fly movement consistently. So as he's lowering, he's still thinking, drive this arm into the box throughout the whole movement. As you're going through it, make sure that no part of it you lose tension. So if you feel you go through the range and there's a point where you start to lose that tension and you lose that control, then stop there and reset. Good, stay with it. Make sure the rest of the body is nice and braced. Over halfway now. Good, 20 more seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is the first time Josh is doing a full-on mobility session with me. So it's come as a bit of a surprise.
Just a tad.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right, now there's one more exercise.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come a little bit outside of your end range. So I want that you're in a position where you can just about lift this arm off the box. All right, so if you're up here and you can get it off the box quite a bit, then lower yourself down so you're just borderlining leaving the box. And then you're going to hold that position, all right, and from here, you're going to bring the arm into an overhead position. Try to lock out the elbow as best as you can, and then bring back. The goal is to just try and keep the shoulder blade retracted throughout the whole of the movement. So you're thinking shoulder blade retraction, press into that overhead position, and then bring it back down. Yeah? What have you got there, Bruce? It's got my lip balm. You have to close everything. Little devil. All right, so same. You want full body tension with this one, so take a good brace first. Right, and then from there, lift off. And begin to straighten the arm out and then bring it back in. Good. And that box will let you know As you're bringing the arm back, if you lower the arm too much, you'll start to make contact with the box, which is what you don't want to do. Reset after each rep, yeah. Good. And make sure that's coming just from the shoulder blade. Try not to move the spine, keep the abs braced. Try not to let the supporting arm bend whatsoever. 30 more seconds. Twenty more seconds. Good. Keep it going. Nearly there. Good. Keep all of this tight. One more rep. And Bruce is now eating our box. Brilliant. And have a little rest there. Right. So, you're now going to do all of that on the other side.
Yeah. Do you want me to turn around the face up?
Yeah. I'll turn the box this way. Now at home, guys, when you're looking for this passive stretch, don't just assume it's going to be the same on the other side. Like our shoulders, our hips, generally one side is very different from the other. So take a moment to explore. Once again, you're lowering down in that elevator fashion, all right? And then from there, you can explore by rocking forwards, rocking back, and just try to take a moment to find a good line of tension / stretch around that front of the shoulder, chest area. And then once you found that stretch, Josh, I just want you to hold there in the passive stretch for a little bit. Then returning back to diaphragmatic breathing. So think slow breath in, slower breath out. Try to relax into the stretch as best as you can. Try not to hold any tension. You want that stretch to be somewhat mild so the body's not resisting too much. And if you find while you're holding a passive stretch, guys, that it starts to ease off, then you can sink a little bit more further into the stretch, but always stay within what feels safe and tolerable for you. We'll hold just a little longer and then we'll begin. I wonder what's going on in your head, Bruce. Right, so Josh, we'll begin, yeah? Staying in position, don't come out of it. You always want to stay in that position. Take a good deep breath in. Take a good brace. Now, PAILS contraction, 20%. Thinking about contracting what you feel is on stretch to create that effort. Think pec fly movement, build it up to 40. 60. 80. And now I want you to give it your safest and greatest effort again. Always safest. Good. Keep everything else nice and solid. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax that contraction and go into your rails contraction. So he's trying to lift this arm off the box without changing anything else. Squeezing back here to make that effort happen. And we got Bruce again, back in for the action. Stay with me, Josh. Good. Another 10 more seconds, and then afterwards, if you can for me, just try to relax the contraction and sink deeper into the passive stretch. If you feel you really have to come out of it, then do so, and then just get back into it when you're ready for me. 3, 2, 1, relaxing the contraction. If you can stay in it, just sink a little bit deeper, find a new line of tension. At home, you can explore for this second round, change something a little bit, lean forwards, lean back a bit. Meanwhile, Bruce is chewing my arm now. Good, all right. Again, just try to relax as you can, as best as you can in this position for me, yeah? You still got a good stretch on the shoulder, chest?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. All right, ready for round 2?
Yeah.
All right, breath in.
Start from here?
Yep, good brace.
Yeah.
And 20% PAILS contraction. Slowly ramp it up to 40. 60. Remember, the second round you might not feel as strong, so that's fine. Just stay within what feels safe. Now 80. If 80% feels borderline safe, then don't increase it. But if you can, Josh, go to your safest and greatest effort now. And try to hold that same effort. Try and keep that effort held for another 15 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails contraction. That's it. Get as light as possible as you can on this box. Fight it. Fight it.
I can't keep a wrist still.
I know. There's a little twitch in Josh's wrists. That is super common. Okay, I'm fine with that as long as nothing else gets involved. Try to keep it going. Stay with me, and then afterwards you'll relax the contraction and just sink a little deeper into the passive stretch. Now in 3, 2, 1, follow my cue. Stay in position, relax the contraction and just sink a little bit deeper now. Return back to the diaphragmatic breathing, so slow deep breath in, slower breath out. A couple of breath cycles and then slowly come out of position. Hey little man, what's going on? Stuck in your strait jacket, aren't you? Hard work?
Yeah, no.
Do you notice a difference between left side, right side doing
Yeah,
this?
left side's loose. A lot looser than the right side.
Yeah. Do you feel like you had
Like
more?
with the left side, I could go onto my elbow.
Right, and do you feel the left side maybe a bit stronger than the right side, or?
I found the left side was a little bit stronger, but the right side was a little bit stronger, but the left side was definitely I didn't feel as much of a stretch.
Right, right.
But at the same time, it's still quite difficult to like contract and do the movements.
Yeah, so these are good things to observe. Is sometimes you might feel you have more range, but you don't have the same amount of control or strength. Sometimes you might feel you've got quite a bit of stiffness and more restriction, but somehow you can also produce more strength. So these are interesting things to just take note and see how that improves when you repeat the class a few times.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to now go on to the kinetic movement, and that was the one where you're doing the rails contraction to pull yourself into the position, and then PAILS to bring yourself back up. Again, choose your own intensity. One thing I will say is at home, if this is the first time doing this sort of work, just try to not work at your max efforts. You could even think as you go through rep by rep, increase that intensity so you can kind of gauge where your limit effort is. We still want it to be strength training, so we want to get to 70% and work somewhere above that. But don't sacrifice it for the sake of not feeling safe in the movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, when you're ready, breath in. Good brace, and time begins now. No, Bruce. You don't want to eat the mic. Good. So as you're going through this at home, guys, you don't have to look exactly like how Josh looks through the movement. What he's done is found a way to set up his body for which the exercise gives him the best line of tension as he goes through the movements. So you won't look exactly the same as how Josh looks. Another 30 more seconds. And then when you get to the top position, don't relax, but just go straight into the next rep, keeping that tension. 15 more seconds. And Bruce, I don't know if he's seen in the camera, but he's eating into a straitjacket now. 3, 2, 1, and take a little rest.
That's good.
Yeah.
You definitely got a burning sensation through your pecs.
Good stuff. And you feel a bit in the front of the shoulder as well as you're going through some of these exercises?
At the bottom.
Yeah, in the bottom position?
The bottom.
Yeah. That would be because if you think about it, this is shoulder external rotation, right? So as we're getting into that lowered position, it's not just a chest stretch we're going into, but we're also challenging our shoulder external rotation at the same time. So that's why it's perfectly normal. You might feel something in the front of the shoulder as you do that. Good, all right. Ready for the next one? So now is the eccentric. That was where you're creating that PAILS contraction, then start to lower into the stretch, maintaining that PAILS contraction. Yep, and that's what will create that load. Almost there with me. All right.
For a minute as well.
1 minute. Take a good breath in.
Yeah.
Good brace, and begin. That's it. It's not easy, and you can't see this on camera, but Josh is doing a good job at trying to keep tension in the rest of the body as well. So he's keeping a little bit of tension in the legs, he's keeping a little bit of tension into this arm, he's maintaining a good ab brace, and he's keeping a good amount of tension back here as well. 30 more seconds. And once again, as you're going through the reps of this one, feel free to change your position a little bit rep by rep. So you can lean forwards a little bit more, you can lean back a little bit more. Josh asked if he can go onto his elbow. Yes, that's perfectly fine. What's important and what I ask is that you just work where you feel that tension is. Good, another 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And take a little rest now. Good, all right, we'll take about 30 seconds rest, and then we'll do the final exercise.
Okay.
That last one was where you lift off, straighten out the arm, bring it back in, reset. Yep. Your shoulders are going to feel smoked tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are we doing tomorrow for training?
No. Not shoulders.
Not shoulders. All right. Reset. I'll get everyone to do it at the same time. So set on. Breath in. Good brace. Now lift off via shoulder retraction, and now straighten the arm into overhead position and pull back, keeping shoulder blade retraction. Reset and repeat. Good. And keep it going. Keep tension in this arm. Keep tension in your legs. Abs braced. What's wrong, Bruce? Calm down a bit. Now that you're not in your stray jacket, you're all relaxed, aren't you? Good. Another 20 more seconds. Try to keep that movement nice and controlled as well. As you're fatiguing, you'll find yourself trying to start to move a bit faster. Try to keep it slow and controlled. Try to work through all those challenging parts of that movement for me.
Ooh.
Stay with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. Stand up now. We are going to finish off by just retesting the glenohumeral calves. Now, what I'm going to do is just make it a little bit more challenging. Sorry. Tennis ball in that hand. We'll save that for next class. Bruce. Oh, that will take me a while to get. So what you're going to do is keeping tension, right? Squeezing both tennis balls. You're going to do 3 reps. Your first rep of the glenohumeral calves is 30% tension. All right. Then once you finish that rep, the second rep 60%, and then your third rep is 90%. So you want that third rep to be almost like you have nothing left afterwards. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, step back a little bit for me. Cool, from here. So good brace, breath in, keep tension the rest of the body, come across. So from here, come across. Think about squeezing that tennis ball with 30%. Good. And now extend back. Good. And as you go through this movement at home, guys, just check in now, see how it feels. As I said before, that second portion of the movement, so now 60% from here, taking the arm back into internal rotation. See how all of that feels, and even as you extend the arm back, see how it feels. Good. Now, 90%, imagine the air you're moving through is a lot denser, and you're really having to squeeze hard the whole body, especially shoulder, arm, bicep, tricep, forearm, to move through that dense air. Keep everything else solid and still. Good, all right, switch sides. Now internally rotate, you send the arm back, continuing to internally rotate. Keep internal rotation as you extend back. 60% rep now. Good, good. I'm going to help just give you a bit of feedback, but try not to push your shoulder blade up into my hand. Try to keep that shoulder blade down a little bit more. Good. Try not to rotate with the torso. Stay with me. I lost count. That was 90%?
That was 3.
That was 3 reps. Excellent. Okay, we'll wrap it up there.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good work today.
Hey, don't balls it up.